It began with a sound that didn't belong on that quiet suburban street. A deep rumble, like distant thunder, rolled across the calm afternoon. Harley engines cut through the air, announcing the arrival of bikers whose black vests bore the fiery insignia of the Hells Angels. Their shadows stretched long on the warm pavement as neighbors peeked from behind curtains. Mothers pulled children inside. Even the wind seemed to pause. Amid the roar of engines and chrome, a small, trembling voice rose, fragile yet determined. "Sir, will you buy my bike?" The biker slowed, engines idling low. At the edge of the sidewalk stood a little girl, no more than 6, her hair tousled, her dress neat, shoes worn. A pink bicycle with a white basket rested beside her. In her hands, she clutched a cardboard sign, "For sale." The smallest biker, or perhaps the kindest, cut his engine and stepped off. The others followed, boots thudding on the pavement. He knelt before her, the chrome of his bike glinting behind her like a mirror reflecting a harsh world. Her name was Mirror, and in her eyes lay something no child should carry: exhaustion. Under a distant tree, an older woman sat slumped against the trunk, wrapped in a thin blanket. Ryder felt his throat tighten as the girl spoke again, clutching her sign tighter. "Please, sir, Mommy hasn't eaten in 2 days. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, in standing when the world turns away, pause to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner." Stories like this remind us that compassion can still change everything. Ryder, called Wolf by his brothers, though the name never fit, was a man who had lost more than most could imagine. A father who walked away, a son who never came home, and a faith in the world long buried. Yet, kneeling on that hot pavement, something stirred. Between halting breaths and tears, Mirror told him everything. Her mother, Clara, had worked at a local catering company, respected in the town and owned by the powerful Mr. Hensley. When the company downsized, Clara begged for a few weeks to feed her daughter. Hensley refused. She was replaceable. Since then, Clara had been too weak to find work. Bills piled up. The fridge emptied. Pride kept her from asking for help. So Mirror, desperate, took her only toy, her pink bicycle, to sell it for food. Something snapped inside Ryder. Years of buried anger surged. His brothers, Tank, Viper, Mason, saw it and understood. It wasn't pity they felt. It was righteous rage. Ryder reached into his vest, pulled out his wallet, and placed a wad of bills in Mirror's trembling hand. "Keep the bike, kiddo," he murmured, voice low and rough with emotion, but this wasn't the end. He couldn't just ride away knowing the powerful had stripped a woman and her child of everything. He told Mirror to stay with her mother, promised he'd return, and the engines roared to life again. That day, the Hells Angels didn't carry guns or violence. They wielded truth. They tracked Hensley's gleaming office, a monument to arrogance, and entered like thunder after lightning. Boots echoed against marble floors. The receptionist froze. Ryder's eyes found Hensley through the glass wall of his office, a man with a gold watch, a fake smile, and hands that had never worked an honest day. "What is this?" Hensley scoffed. Ryder didn't shout. He placed Mirror's "For Sale" sign on the pristine desk. "That," he said quietly, "is what your greed cost." For the first time, the polished businessman looked shaken. Ryder told him about the starving mother, the little girl, and the bicycle worth more in love than all his cars combined. Excuses died when he saw the fire in their eyes. Not criminal rage, but moral fire. "You don't get to buy forgiveness," Ryder said softly, "but you do get a chance to do what's right." By sunset, news spread. Hensley had anonymously donated groceries, paid off hospital bills for struggling families, and rehired those he had wronged. Only a few rough men and a little girl with a pink bike knew why. When Ryder and his brothers returned to the tree that evening, Mirror ran to them, eyes wide with joy. Clara, still weak, smiled for the first time in weeks. Ryder noticed her trembling hands as she tried to thank him. He nodded, tipping his head as engines cooled beside them. "You don't owe us anything," he said. "Just promise you'll never give up." They shared bread that night, the bikers, the mother, and the little girl who had sold her bike not for toys, but for love. The sunset painted gold across chrome, grass, and the folded cardboard sign in Mira's lap. For a moment, the world seemed less broken. If this story touched your heart, reminding you that kindness can come from the most unexpected places, like, share, comment, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Every click helps spread hope. And tell us below, what would you have done in Ryder's place? Sometimes one act of courage is all it takes to restore faith in humanity.